good day. In this video we have 6 records and 3 cassettes. Here we go. This is Social Disservices by Panopticon, and I have already talked about this record in my Panopticon Valgeflüster video as part of revisions of the past collection. This re-release was released a couple of weeks ago on vinyl through Noir and Bindroom, and as I stated in my previous video, this was the first record I heard by Panopticon and is the one I hold dearest, especially the last song, Patient. Excellent stuff, and it's edited and complete remix version from the original release in 2011. It's housed in a single jacket, and you get the insert with information why Austin Lund wrote the record, and on the other side you have the lyrics to the 4 songs. And the record is on clear vinyl with white and gray splatter. And if you never heard Panopticon, which I doubt, or not heard this particular record, I highly recommend checking it out. Noir and Bindroom still has copies, and you can buy a digital copy on Panopticon's Bandcamp. Here's a snippet. This is the Crescendo of Dusk, an EP released in January this year, and the physical copy was released a couple of weeks ago, last week maybe, through Noir and Bindroom, and it contains 2 tracks, the Crescendo of Dusk, which was a leftover from Scars of the Wilderness sessions, and it's an epic black metal piece. It's very good. And the second track is called The Labyrinth, and it was a leftover track from Autumn Eternal, and this is a solely acoustic piece. It's quite good and would have fitted right in on part 2 on the Scars records, and total running time is over 20 minutes. It's housed in a single jacket. You get no inserts. The record is one-sided. It's on green vinyl. The B-side is etched with a firebird. I don't know if it shows. Anyway, since it's fairly newly released, I believe Noir and Bindroom still has copies left. Here's a snippet.
The cold chilled me to the bone.
This is Trenches of the Netherworld by Usurpers. It was released in 2012 through Iconoclast Records, and the band is from Uppsala, Sweden. And I talked about the band in an earlier video, and in my Album of the Year video from last year, Interregnum was placed 21st place. And this is the band's debut from 2012, and it's death sludge metal, but the prog elements found on Interregnum is absent here, and the vocals and riffing are all good, but sometimes the drumming is, I think it's slow grindcore drumming, if you know what I mean. It's hard to describe, but I hate that kind of drumming, and it ruins some of the tracks. When it's straight death metal drumming, it's very nice. And it contains 11 tracks. It's 33 minutes long, and my favorite tracks are Effigies Burns Across the Wasteland, Coronation of the Crippled King, and Dethroned by Shadows. And this is an original press from 2012. It's a single jacket. You get a printed inner sleeve with lyrics, and the record is on standard black vinyl. This is not as good as Interregnum, but still decent, and it's dirt cheap on Discogs. Here's a snippet. This is Noir by Monarch. It was released in 2013 through Sepulchral Productions. And the band is from Quebec, Canada. And the band was formed in 2003 and have released 3 full-lengths and a bunch of EPs and splits. And Noir is the band's 3rd full-length. It's very fast-paced Canadian black metal, but they add some breathing room in the form of ambient and acoustic interludes within the songs. It's highly recommended if you like Fortress and similar bands. And the record consists of 7 tracks. It's 37 minutes long. And my favorite tracks are L'appel de la nuit, Vigo Morty, Mes condoléances. Although all tracks are good, including the acoustic track Solitude. And I have the 2018 vinyl version released by Eisenwald. And this is the first and only release on vinyl. For some reason they decided to change the cover artwork, and I like the original much better. And it's a gatefold. And you get a sturdy sheet with what I think is lyrics to the songs, but it's all in French, and it's the old English font making it hard to read. And the record is on black vinyl. And I think Eisenwald still has copies left. Here's a snippet. This is The Irrepassable Gate by Ash Borer. It was released in 2016 through Profound Law Records. And Ash Borer is from Oregon and New Mexico, and featuring members of Predatory Light, Triumph for Foul, Adzalan, among others. And The Irrepassable Gate is the band's 3rd full length, and they play atmospheric black metal with some doom parts and ambient woven in. And this contains 6 tracks. It's 53 minutes long. And the first 2 tracks, The Irrepassable Gate and Lacerated Spirit, are my 2 favorites. I also really like the interlude Illustration 1. But all the other songs are very good too. And my version is the 2017 repress. It's a gatefold. And you get a sheet with track names and some credits. No lyrics. And the records are on standard black vinyl. And I think Profound Lore Records still has copies left. Here's a snippet. Pillars 1 by the band Earth and Pillars. It was released in 2016 through Avant-Garde Music, and the band is from Italy. It's a 3-piece, and they use programmed drums, and it reminds me a lot of Dark Space, but not as dark. And Pillars 1 is the band's sophomore release. Earth 1 was released in 2014, and Towards the Pillar was released in 2018, and this was released in 2016. And it only contains 4 tracks, but each track is at least 50 minutes long. The record is 66 minutes long, and there are no standout tracks. All 4 tracks are very good. It's ebb and flow, and some it's complete silence and all chaos. Very good stuff. And my version is a 2017 repress, limited to 500 copies. It's a gatefold. And you get a booklet with lyrics and plenty of beautiful nature pictures. And the records are on standard black vinyl. And I think Eisenwald still has copies left. Here's a snippet. Now it's time for some cassettes. This is Ertelsmos Nexritvs or something by Thy Darkened Shade. It was released in 2012 through World Terror Comedy Records, and the band is from Athens, Greece, and I think this is a solo project from Semyasa, famous from Acrimonious and former of Kavir and Nergal, but the vocalist A is apparently a permanent member now, according to Metal Archives, and the band actually formed in 99, but it took 13 years before this record was released as their debut. And the band played black metal, but they incorporated a lot of thrash and speed metal. Some tracks reminds me of Destroy 666, where some tracks are very far from the Aussies. And this contains 8 tracks, it's 42 minutes long, and almost all songs are very good. But my favorites are The Great Serpent Self, Narrow Fields of Life, and For Sinister Might. And I got the original tape version. It was released on CD and cassette, but is now available on vinyl also. And the tape is gold. And you get a lyric sheet, but it's not complete. It's very confusing trying to follow along, as there are a lot of parts that's not written down in the lyric sheet. I don't know why. Highly recommended stuff. Here's a snippet. This is Libera Lucifer 1, Quiem by the Darkened Shade. Thy Darkened Shade. It was released in 2014 through World Terror Committee Records, and Libera Lucifer Quiem is the band's sophomore release. And you can clearly hear that it's the same band, but the speed thrash elements has taken a step back, and instead there are more intricate riffing. The bass guitar is very, very cool. It's very audible and does its own thing instead of just emphasizing the rhythm section. The songs are longer, but it doesn't seem that way when you're listening, because there are almost always something interesting going on. But it's almost 80 minutes long, and although it's very good, it's too long. I don't know what they could have skipped, but it's too long. It's 11 tracks. And as I said, all tracks are good, but my 2 favorites are Elixir of Azazel and Dus Absucontitus. And this was originally only available on CD and vinyl, but in 2016 they released a tape version, which is the one I have. And the tape is black with some type of golden text, and there are no lyrics, but the J card is nice anyway. And I think VTC still has copies left of both releases. To conclude those 2 bands, these 2 releases, if you like black thrash, start with Eternas Mos Next Riffs, and if you're more into intricate riffing, start with Libera Lucifer. You can't really go wrong with either though. Highly recommended. Thy Darkened Shade. Lastly, we have this. This is All Is of No Avail by Kandra. It was released in 2017 through Gravplats Propaganda. And the band is from Minsk, Belarus. And it's a 2-piece, and they play black metal. And like Down Crows from my previous video, also from Belarus, they sound a lot like Migva. And All Is of No Avail was the band's first release, and they have since released another EP called There Is No Division Outside Existence, which I have not found a copy of that one yet. And this EP contains 2 tracks. It's 14 minutes long. Both tracks are good. The second track, Presence, is no longer relevant. It's a little bit stale in the beginning, but picks up, and the ending is the highlight of the EP. And I have the tape from 2017. It's also available on CD. And the tape is black. And you get lyrics for the 2 tracks. And I think you can order it from their Bandcamp. Here's a snippet. That was it for today's video. Hopefully someone got something out of it. Bye.